Hello and welcome to Global Focus Today. I am Reverend Sharri Johnson, your host, and today we have an amazing guest. We always do have, but this one's a real topper. This is Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer. Now I'm going to tell you just a little bit about him, and then I'm going to let him tell you all about his ministry. He's a native of San Diego County. He has been a New Thought and religious science minister since 2007. He is the board president of the affiliated New Thought Network, Anton. It's a membership organization of New Thought centers and churches, including Unity, CSL, Independence, as well as individual ministers. He's a founding board member and currently the director of relationship development for Urban Street Angels. Now, this is the organization he's here to talk about today, and it is astounding. It's an organization in San Diego that works to end youth homelessness by providing housing, life skills training, and employment training and referrals to homeless transition age youth, kids that are aging out of all of the help that's available to younger kids, ages 18 to 25. He also serves as a staff minister for Ohm Center for Spiritual Living and is the author of the acclaimed book, Coming Out to Ourselves, Admitting, Accepting, and Embracing Who We Truly Are. His next book is expected to be published later this year. Reverend Dr. Jerry's husband, also Jerry, died in 2018 after a 33-year relationship. As a result of experiencing conflicting feelings of grief, loss, and toxic positivity, he created an interactive workshop titled The Search for Inner Peace, Being at Home in the Muddy Water. Very often connected to our experience of grief and loss is the need for forgiveness as a process, not an event. Because that's what forgiveness is, a process, not an event. And because of that, Dr. Jerry created a second workshop exploring the opportunity and need for forgiveness. He lives in La Mesa, a suburb of San Diego, with his English cream golden retriever, Maggie. His son, Brandon, and family, including seven grandchildren, live near Eugene, Oregon. And that's all I'm going to tell you because he's got a lot to say, and I want you to hear it from him. Please welcome Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer from Urban Street Angels. Dr. George, thank you so much for coming.
Reverend Sharri, thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be with you. So Urban Street Angels, like you talked about a little bit, is an organization in San Diego. Last night, there were about 115 18 to 25-year-old homeless youth that had a warm and safe place to sleep rather than couch surfing or sleeping on the street. These are young people that have aged out of foster care and had no place to go, or didn't have a home to stay in because of drug abuse in the family, some sort of abuse, some situation, and there was no home to stay in, and they wound up either on the streets or getting ready to be on the streets. So the youth come into our program for between 4 and 9 months. We provide the bed for them, 3 meals a day for them. We are in the process of adding another 20. In the shelter business, we call it another 20 beds. But the truth is, it's space for another 20 youth to have a warm and safe place to sleep. And we're also in the process of creating a coffee house right next to our primary shelter in downtown San Diego, so the youth have an opportunity to work. And to learn skills and to have something on their resume, so that they can move forward with the next chapter of their lives. I'm a founding board member, as Reverend Sharri mentioned, so I've been around. It's 10 years. Actually, it's 11 because we started in 2012. So I've been around since the very beginning. It is the most amazing experience of my life, and I am so grateful to have the opportunity to serve these amazing, amazing young people who have decided that their past need not determine their future.
Well, I know that every one of them realizes how blessed they are to have you on their team, but we came in at the end of the story. Tell us how this happened. How did you end up? That's not, I don't think you started out in life saying, I think I'll go out and see what I can do for homeless youth.
No, no, and thank you for asking that. And it's a pretty interesting story. I was senior minister for a church in San Diego in this would have been 2011, and yes, 2011, and our congregation was looking for an organization in San Diego to support another nonprofit organization to support. And so I did my Google search, and as divine intervention and timing would have it, we came across this organization that at the time was a ministry of a Disciples of Christ church in San Diego. So I reached out to the senior minister who is now our president and CEO, and who was in the process of creating this separate organization at the time. So we became so my congregation donated about 1,000 pairs of socks. There was no shelter at that time. There was just the outreach to the streets. So all of that was in process of being created. So we donated the socks. I became fast friends with Eric Lovett, our CEO. And then he asked me to come on as a founding board member. And then I've done incredibly wonderful things over time. We had a drop-in shelter for about 3 years for this age group. And so I managed that for a while. And then we just continue to grow. And as soon as that piece of growth is done, we're looking for the next opportunity to get more homeless youth off the streets.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Now, I know you got to be up to your eyeballs in stories, but is there one that just really stands out? One kid, one young person who really made a turnaround because of Urban Street Angels?
So I tend to get emotional whenever I talk about the program, and this is the most emotional of the most emotional. But I would say that we had a young person transitioning from female to male, and they were not able to stay in their family situation and wound up in our shelter. And last year I did a lot of work at the front desk. So if you're a youth in the program, the door is locked and you have a fob to get in the door for security. And so you come in, and the security person or front desk person goes through your stuff and checks on you to see how you are and takes your temperature. And we're still doing that because of COVID. But I really got to know this young person, and they just were so amazing. And I learned a little about their story and what they'd been through that brought them to that point. And so when they left, they said how very much they appreciated the program in general, and me in particular, and the fact that without Urban Street Angels, they would have no idea where they would have wound up. So we hear a lot of those kinds of stories from youth that just had no hope, had no idea what am I going to do, where am I going to go. And so we offer unconditional love. Might be the first time that they've received that. We offer unconditional love and possibility that, well, this is where you've been, but maybe you could do something different. Maybe you could go back and get your high school diploma or your college degree. Maybe you could find that job that you've always wanted. Maybe you could, and you get to fill in the blank, you young person, because all possibility is there for you. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to talk about New Thought without talking about New Thought.
Yeah.
I love it. I
would think so.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you get into ministry in the first place? Was this your first career, or did you, like most of us, have another career first and then become a minister?
It was not my first career. I was working for a technology market research company back in the 90s. And dear friends of my husband and mine, he was a nurse. My Jerry was a nurse, and our dear friends were both nurses, and two women. And their relationship worked, their money worked, everything in their lives worked, and ours so didn't. And they kept saying, well, you should come to church with us. And we're like, Yeah, let me get back to you on that. And so we did finally, kicking and screaming, clawing and scratching. We went and to the New Thought Center for Creative Living in San Diego and never left, because we went there, we stayed there. I had a job transfer to Boston in 92 and 93. So we were there for 2 years, came back to San Diego, went back to church. That's where I started my practitioner work, my first and second year, my practitioner work, my ministerial work through Emerson, and then ultimately my master's and my doctorate. So that was 31 years ago. Dear Lord, 31 years ago. And I love what I do. And my church, my center dissolved several years ago. And so now I'm a staff minister at OHM, Center for Spiritual Living, which is wonderful because I have the opportunity to speak there every once in a while on a Sunday, as well as guest speak in other churches and centers, but don't have to worry about all the minister stuff. Scheduling the musicians, paying the rent, vacuuming the floor, who's making coffee this morning, all of those wonderful things. Yes.
Well, so what's the biggest challenge that you have? All right, we'll take it in pieces. First, just as a minister in general, what's the biggest challenge that you have?
Well, I would say the biggest challenge that I have is a challenge that I believe we have in New Thought, which segues very nicely to the other piece of my ministry that I'm going to go for, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
So my story is my husband, Sharri, was diagnosed with colorectal cancer in early 2017, and he died. He made his transition. We don't say died. He made his transition. He went on to his next experience, all of those other ways that we don't say died. But he died in the Houston airport on the way home from an Anton conference at Unity Village in October of 2018. So imagine, we live in San Diego, we live in California, he died in Texas. So imagine all of the stuff for trying to figure out how do you deal with the remains of someone who's died in a different state from where they lived. So started the process for that, flew home, came into the house, kissed the dog, sat down, and started to grieve. And my ego said, no, everything is in divine order. Everything is as it should be. It's all good. Somebody actually said it's all good. Sweet Jesus. But all of those statements that we tell ourselves that are so often called toxic positivity and spiritual bypass. But I really had to fight with myself for some number of months, allowing myself to grieve. And how often do we in New Thought cover ourselves with these statements that are absolutely true, but the fact is our hearts are breaking because somebody died, because somebody died from COVID, because a job situation changed or a relationship changed, or all of those human experiences.
You're talking about truths that are true, but completely beside the point, right?
Yes, absolutely. So through this process, I created a workshop, and you talked about this, learning to be in the muddy water and allowing ourselves, and because what we're doing is allowing here, we're allowing the mud, we're allowing the grief and the tears and the loss, not being stuck in it, but allowing ourselves to feel what we feel. Because if we don't,
it festers.
It festers, and we get angry when we weren't expecting ourselves to. And it comes out in surprising and wonderful ways, like what happened to that package of lemon Oreos? Who ate the rest of the pizza? I was saving that pint of Ben and Jerry's, and I had a little thing with food there. So, that's my deal more so than alcohol or drugs or shopping. But because one of my favorite authors, Debbie Ford, said, "What we can't be with won't let us be." So because I don't like the word challenge, I like opportunity. So my opportunity and the big piece of my ministry is delivering the message that not only is it okay, but it's necessary for us human beings to feel what we feel and to process these emotions so that we can move forward. Because we're talking about the future of spiritual living and new thought, and how important it is for us as ministers and leaders to meet our dear ones where they are. If I come into your center and someone that I love and adore has died, or there's been a change in my life that I'm having a hard time accepting, if you try to cover me up with platitudes and spiritual bypass, you are not serving my needs.
Nope.
So that's
in fact, it's worse than that. I think it's spiritual bypass is when you use it on yourself. When you use it on somebody else, that's spiritual abuse.
Yes.
It really is. And that's like intensely not right.
And admittedly, we in Western civilization are not built. We want to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. I want to be warm. I want to be cushy. I want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. I don't want to feel pain or anything unlike warm and fuzzy.
Well, and you especially don't want to feel somebody else's.
Right. But it's not all. This thing called life is amazing and wonderful and wonder-full, as in I wonder how I got myself here. So we have to allow ourselves to feel this and encourage and invite other people to do the same.
Well, and if we deny that, then it's a cliche, but if we deny that, then we've denied the opposite of it too.
Yes.
If we stuff, that's what I call it. If we stuff the pain, it so happens that my husband died of acute small cell lung cancer on March 19th of 2018. So I'm right there with you.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. And if we stuff it, if we try to plaster it over and not let it be there because we don't think it's supposed to be there, or because it's just a whole lot of not fun, it's like when you get a splinter under your thumbnail and you don't want to put the tweezers or the needle under there. So you say, well, it'll come out on its own. And sure enough, it will, but it'll be a couple of days. And when it does, a whole lot of pus is going to come out with it. And so it seems to me that one of the primary goals of your workshop is to avoid the pus.
Put as delicately as possible. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Spiritual pus is just as nasty as the green stuff from the splinter.
That is the truth. That is absolutely the truth. Yes. Yeah. So, and to tie this in, and we are in the process of introducing a program about this same topic to the youth at Urban Street Angels, because can you imagine the anger and the hurt and the loss and the rage and all the rest of that, all those emotions that these young people carry with them that need to deal with, to be able to deal with that so that they can move forward.
Yep.
Excuse me.
That's marvelous. And there's a question I ask everybody who comes on my program. And you have just given me a wonderful segue for it. And the question is, how does what you do in your workshops, and in particular with the Urban Street Angels program, how does that encourage, enhance, proliferate conscious evolution?
I would say that allowing ourselves to allow this happened. I feel this way. And this experience of unconditional love for others, because that's what we're doing at Urban Street Angels, is we're offering unconditional love again to these youth, again, that might not have ever had that experience before, but we're offering that to them through this program. And we're offering unconditional love to ourselves when we say, I'm really grieving, I'm really hurting, I'm really angry. So the conscious evolution is allowing ourselves again to be with whatever that is, not to deny it, not to shame ourselves, not to guilt ourselves. Well, you're not a good minister if you, well, you're not a good practitioner if you, recognizing that as spiritual beings having a human experience, this is what we go through, and allowing that so that we can move forward.
And see, you said a little tiny phrase that was really, really, really important. And I think it's one of the essential components of what you're talking about. You said go through.
Yes.
I say grow through instead of go through. But the point is that the conscious evolution of it and the healing of it is what happens when you allow it to happen, because it can't be over until it has happened.
Yes.
And so allowing yourself to experience, it's the 23rd Psalm thing. It doesn't say, yea, though I move into the valley of the shadow of death, buy property, pay taxes, build a house.
I was going to say,
walk through, and walking through means sooner or later I come out the other side.
Yeah. And keep walking. Yes.
Keep walking.
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest gift you can give these young people is the knowledge that there's nothing they can't grow through.
Yes. And the other piece, and I don't think I mentioned this in my bio, the other piece, if we have time.
Go.
So if you look at an older photo of me, you will notice that there's been a color change, because I used to be no gray hair or very little gray hair. And so my Jerry died when I was 60, and I was still coloring everything and trying to look a certain age. And I attended an Elder Pride event. Elder Pride is a focus ministry of the Centers for Spiritual Living. And I attended an event in San Francisco. And I walked into this room with all these wonderful people with gray hair. And I said, and I'm talking, and everything's wonderful, and we're getting along, and we're sharing stories and all the rest of that. And I said, in my still small voice, in a loving way, said, these are your people. How did I get to this room with 60 somethings? Well, you're 60 something. Mm-hmm. And so the next book is coming out to ourselves again, admitting, accepting, and embracing life after 60, or life after, I got to figure out what number I want to be. But it's about finding purpose and finding joy in the next chapter. So after your beloved dies, after you lose that job, after you have that major shift in your life, how do you turn the page and go on to the next chapter? And so
I can hardly wait to see that book, because I'm thinking, I'm going to be 73 in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And I'm a minister. I'm full time. I'm working on a PhD program at Emerson. I'm not done with anything, but not. I am also not punching anybody's clock.
Yeah.
And every morning I wake up and I go, wow, this is my house. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, exactly the way I'm supposed to be doing it, where I'm supposed to be doing it, because I want to do it. How cool is that?
I know.
And I just kind of stumbled into it. At least it felt like I just kind of stumbled into it, going through all the grieving stuff first and finally coming out the other side of it. But the idea of having a workshop, a book, to help people understand that just because you're collecting Social Security doesn't mean you're done. Doesn't mean I figure God's got so much stuff lined up for me to do. I'm going to have to live to be 150 to get it all done. I won't even be middle aged till I'm 92.
See, there you go. Absolutely. I love that. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I can hardly wait for that book.
Yeah, me too. I've been working on this for about 2.5 years, and I've promised a whole bunch of people, including the people that are hearing this today, that this will be done the first quarter of 2023. So please know with me that this is a done deal, and I finish it because I'm 3/4 there. I just need to update some things.
Let me give you a little added incentive.
Okay.
I've been an editor for 35 years. If I can help in any way, just let me know.
Thank you so much. I will definitely keep that in mind. Thank you. Yep.
So go back to your ministry. I just got sidetracked because I was so excited about what you were telling me.
So it really is. So again, it's the unconditional love for others and offering that as I love you because you are the beloved, period. Not if you do this, if you are a certain way, if you change, if you do something for me, it is unconditional love for yourself.
You know, what I'm hearing in the back of that is the Buddhist teaching that we can't give what we don't have.
Absolutely.
And so that unconditional love for yourself is a necessary component of being able to do what you do.
Right. So the unconditional love for others, the unconditional love for myself in allowing myself to feel what I feel and to grieve and to be, do, and have enough. There's an absolutely amazing book titled, and I forget the name of the author, but no, I don't. It's Jamie Varon is the author, and and the title is Radically Content. It's amazing. And I've created, so that's my third workshop, and I've only done it once, but I absolutely love it because because in this teaching, you got to come in and you got to take that class and you got to do that and you got to get better and you got to get more and all the rest of that. And that's absolutely wonderful. But what if I'm enough? What if I have, and I'm not scrimping, I'm not denying myself anything, but what if I'm enough? What if I did enough? What if I'm content right here in this moment? Period.
What if I choose to be happy?
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
What if I choose to be happy? Yeah.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So that's the third workshop. So
are these available online, or do you only do them in person?
They are not available online yet, and I've kicked that around. So more news to follow on that. But I love to go and visit, and I'm in Palm Harbor and Dunedin, Florida in February, and in Atlanta and Nashville in March, and we'll be speaking and doing workshops there. And if you go to my website, which is revjerrytroyer.com, there's my contact information, and you can reach out if any of these sound interesting and you'd like more information. But so the ministry is again in the allowing ourselves to be who we are right here in this moment without the postponing and the future. I forget the term, but the future, I'll be successful, I'll be happy, I'll be satisfied as soon as.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I love is that you're actually tailoring these, or that's not the right term, I don't think, but you are tailoring seems to be the best I can come up with. Tailoring these 3 workshops in such a way that they can be applicable to people in our age bracket and to the young people that you're serving in Urban Street Angels and to anybody in between.
Absolutely. And I have to say, the forgiveness, the process of forgiveness, and also the muddy one, the allowing ourselves to feel the grief and loss. And I've had always have amazing breakthroughs in my life, and the people that attend have said how important and how valuable it was to them, because they never looked at whatever it was in that way.
That's
And
because
how
teaching is a reciprocal verb.
we have to, yes, we have to allow ourselves to experience all of this, and the richness of this thing called life, with the lemon and the sweet chocolate. It's got to go, the sour lemon and the sweet chocolate, it's got to all go together in this thing called life.
Or Oreo.
Right. Yes, right. That too. Yes. Yeah.
I love me some lemon Oreos.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question I want you to answer, and you're going to need to take a second to think about it, but it's okay. You're pretty, and we'll just look at you while you think.
Oh,
10 years from now, if everything goes exactly the way you would most like it to go, what will your ministry look like?
"10 years from now, the second book will be done and the third book will be almost done. And I have this ridiculously amazing life. And I absolutely love and adore my work with the youth. I love the opportunity to go and speak and share ideas and interact with people. So I think it looks very, very, very similar to exactly the way it is today.
Oh, I love that answer. I love that answer. Because that means you're living the dream.
I just have a ridiculous life. It's just, oh my God. Yeah. And just in passing, I also have an amazing new relationship.
I'll have an order of that too.
Oh, baby. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm tickled pink for you. Now, I got another question I ask everybody.
Yes.
This one is similar to the first one, but not quite the same.
Okay.
How does your ministry, how do you in your ministry, however you want to interpret it, how does your ministry promote, sustain, contribute to world peace?
My ministry contributes to world peace because we look at the loss and the anger and the rage and all of those other things. That's where road rage comes from, is that emotion that I wasn't willing to look at. And the other piece, because so often the war happens because you have something that I want, or you somehow, I believe that in order for me to get what I want, I have to take it away from you. So in that enoughness, because in the workshop on being radically content, we also look at the source of our good. And I don't have to go attack you to get what you have if I recognize that the source for my good is not you, it's within me. So we heal the lack and struggle consciousness. We heal the anger and the bitterness and all the rest of that by allowing ourselves to feel it so we can heal it, and then move forward from there.
Oh, I want a t-shirt that says that. Feel it so we can heal it.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Not mine. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's marvelous. Okay. So I have two more questions that I ask everybody. Here's the first one.
Okay.
Is there anything about your ministry, about your life, about your philosophy, about Anton that you want us to know about that I haven't asked?
Let me just reiterate that. So another part of my ministry is to be president of the board of Anson, which is the affiliated New Thought Network. We've been around for 30 years. We are a membership organization of religious science, unity, divine science, CSL, and other churches and centers and congregations, as well as organizations. So not traditional ministries. So your ministry could be a member of Anson,
It is.
as well as and it is. Thank you. And as well as individuals. So ministers, practitioners, lay people, New Thought people. So just an amazing a membership organization, and we do a virtual retreat once a year, normally in the spring. We do a fall in-person retreat again this year, the first week in October at Unity Village outside of Kansas City. And then we do a monthly Thought Leader Thursday, the last Thursday of the month, which is a Zoom call with different leaders in New Thought talking about this and that in their ministries and in the world. So so there's Anson, there's the book, there's Urban Street Angels, there's that. I think that's the list.
Okay, then here's the last question I ask everybody. Will you come back and talk to us again?
Yes, please. At any opportunity about anything.
I was hoping you were going to say that, because I'm fixing to pull the calendar out right now.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you where my next opening is so that we can get you scheduled.
Awesome. And I will look at mine as well.
All righty. The very first opening I have is June the 20th.
I have nothing that far out, so let's put it in ink.
Yay, we got that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
See you again on June the 20th. Oh, I love this.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you.
And everyone, come again next week, because we're going to have another amazing person who just happens to be a member of Anson. It's Reverend Dr. Tiffany Milne from the Global Truth Center. And she's going to be here next week. So a totally different ministry, a totally different approach, everything. You never hear the same thing twice on this show. You really don't. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because we're talking about non-traditional ministry. So thank you again, Dr. Jerry. Thank you for being with us, and I hope you'll come again next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing